guys, I've got a combined army now, and this is the second game I played with it. I thought I'd skip to the second game because the first game was on my normal terrain set. This game is being played on Brendan's terrain, and he's got a slightly different setup than most of us, a very sort of icy winter look, and I was very impressed with it, so I wanted to report this game. My combined army is a vanilla combined army. I've just cherry picked all the things I like about the faction, and I mainly bought the models for the sake of, well, the actual sculpts themselves. So really impressed with them, and also because combined armies seem like the weakest faction. They seem like the hardest army to play, so I wanted to challenge myself in that way. So I'm playing Frontline against my opponent, who's got nomads, although he's proxying quite a lot of models in this game. Next image will show you just the center right side of my deployment here. I am running forward to right side. The lieutenant is actually a noctifier with a combi rifle in there's the camo marker on the building there. We've got the Umbra hacker, of course. Marker up tracker with HMG. I like to play it a little more aggressively, although I think I'll now be relenting and just switching back to the more common sniper rifle. Q drone and E drone, very good drones, and of course Ecodrone bat droid. Next image, my opponent has a Wildcat Link team of 3 members, a Jaguar and the mercenary McMurra in the left hand side behind the building, and a Moran in the center. Next image, okay, so my reserve trooper, if you see this Nomad El Wasil here, it's actually a specular killer. This is my way of putting down an impersonation marker, so this is my first turn deployment, taking first turn here, trying to do some damage. Next image, he's using one of my models or borrowing it to proxy a TR bot, but he's got a camo marker sitting next to it, which is very likely an intruder with a sniper rifle. And a couple of bots you can see spot elsewhere in the photo, and of course a prone model representing a Jaguar. Next image, okay, so this is my Spec Ops unit, which I'm using to proxy as a specular killer with combi rifle. First order of the game moves to the corner and surprise shots the Moran after a couple of orders managing to kill him, and very important to do that so that you can deny your opponent the use of those crazy koalas. Next image, throwing some smoke next to the ground here, and then the specular killer moves into close combat with the Wildcat with a heavy rocket launcher and disposes of it. So specular killer getting 2 kills so far. Next image, Fractar drop trooper landing here. Well, to be fair, the little line you can see next to its base represents the 12-inch deployment zone, so right outside of that, just coming on the side of the table. I realized after the game that if I was running Kodali, what I could be doing in situations like this is throwing the smoke with the specular killer, then deploying Kodali and using an MSV2 to just shred everybody with an assault pistol, so I might buy Kodali just to be able to do that. Anyway, Fractar's still a pretty good trooper, so here it is. Next image, elsewhere in the table, I actually started the turn without remembering to do the impetuous order, so we went back and resolved that. It didn't really affect the sequence of play, so not a big deal. By the way, these bases, guys, are stick-on bases used they're created by Zen Terrain. They are really cool. I sort of regret my experimental color scheme here. It's a bit bland, but I thought it might be, quite contrastive and stark. So I'm not totally unhappy with it, but the bases themselves are very, very cool. Next image. Okay, so decided to pull out with the Fractar from the cloud and fire a nanopulsar, hitting all of his troops here. Now, sadly, he can just ARO with chain rifles and dodge and so forth, and the dice rolls didn't work out that well for this attack. 2 chain rifles to the face, and I've failed all my armor saves. So the Fractar dies. I do manage to take out, I think, the Hellcat, one of the Tomcats or whatever it was, with the attack though, so not a very good trade. Next image. Okay, so the specular killer goes back into impersonation mode while in the cloud, because it can do that if it can't be seen, and then steps out of the cloud, almost as if, the nomad troops know that there's a specular killer, but it's like, oh, it's an Agua Seal stepping out of the cloud. And here he is moving up here. He decides to dodge instead of discovering, expecting me to do a surprise shot, so that then allows me to move in and attack again with another surprise shot. If you go to the next photo, we see that being resolved, and it actually results in me killing another guy here, the other Wildcat. So that's another kill down. We've also put a wound on McMurra. Next image. Okay, so specular killer moving into the cloud, firing the combi rifle. At this point, getting shot by McMurra and his chain rifle. and I believe getting, I think, one more kill on that Tomcat. So the Ling team is completely wiped out now, but the Specular Killer is unconscious. But if you go to the next image, what I do is I spend an order, use the auto healing auto medkit, to get back up again, and then move back into behind the building, just to preserve a little bit of life here, and the smoke dissipates when it's his turn. So found out that he's actually in loss of lieutenant there. So even though I felt that the attack didn't go very well, it actually turned out to be pretty cool, considering that I did manage to pick correctly that the lieutenant was in this group. So that wasn't too bad. If we hit up the next image, we've taken the roof off the building just to show that the Jaguars moved into the building to fire a chain rifle at the Speculo, who returns fire with the combi rifle, and both targets die. I die, he dies. McMurrough, by the way, has planted a smoke grenade there with some impetuous movement below. He regretted that later because it basically protects the Specular Killer more than it threatens it. Interesting play. Next image, you can see here that McMurrough has moved around. It can't actually get rid of the corpse of the Specular Killer because there's a cloud in the way, and of course I might succeed with a medkit next turn, so there is that. Next image again, he brings on an AD trooper here, I believe a Tomcat Doctor, from the side of the table, and shoots the corpse. So that does result him in clearing out the pesky combined army assassin. And the next image, okay, so it's time at this point. We've moved to turn 2 because he's in lost lieutenant, he can really do anything. So Detarazzi throwing down a smoke grenade in my turn, and the mark rep tracker trying to open fire against the intruder. Now, 4 dice versus 2, but I'm at long range and I'm up against cover, so unfortunately that means I'm -6, and he is at the optimal range band, so it's just a straight ballista skill. So in this particular trade-off, the sniper actually wins, and I lose the mark rep tracker because I failed both my armor saves. So yeah, a little bit unlucky with that one, but oh well, that's dice. Next image, I have the lieutenant here, and I've got the Umbra Legate, so putting down a white noise just to block off the intruder sniper. And if we go to the next and very similar photo, the lieutenant's moving down to the bottom of the stairs, and surprise shots with the combi rifle, first destroying the TR bot, which is up in the building, and then focusing his attention on the intruder. Now I know that I can't really move into the battlefield anywhere because it's such a open battlefield without killing the intruder, so I spent like 5 or 6 orders just blapping away with the combi rifle, and by the end of it I didn't even make a dent. In fact, I lost my lieutenant and had to promote a new guy within the turn, so I don't go into loss of lieutenant per se, but even with so many rolls with a combi rifle against an intruder, and an intruder suffering like -6 to hit, I still couldn't roll a 4 or a dice lower than that I needed. Next image, okay, so Q drone having a go at it, trying to take out the intruder, but still not managing it. I just can't get the dice to work, even though I'm taking a risk and sort of sacrificing troops just to get an eventual, weight of the dice kill. It just didn't work this game, and I lost the Evo hacker. I eventually lose the Q drone as well, so looking pretty rough against that intruder. Next image, McMurrough's over here. He's trying to move out and throw a smoke grenade so that he can advance without being shot by the Q drone. This is at a point before I've lost the Q drone, although it does die to the intruder later on in the game. Next image, okay, so we've got the doctor, which dropped in via advanced deployment and goes through and actually revives these troopers at the back of the table here. I was sort of questioning whether this is a good move, considering that he hasn't really got many orders left, and he needs to get guys into the middle of the table, not alive at the back to complete the mission, because it is frontline after all. Next image, okay, so me trying to wind things up, turn 3, moving the Detarazzi into the middle of the table. The intruder has dropped prone after failing a guts check, so just trying to secure a bit of space here. Next image, I've moved the Detarazzi around to throw smoke and advance on a robot over here, so Detarazzi easily able to get into close combat and clean it up. Next image just showing you the brutal martial arts level 4 against the remote electric pulse, and just smashing his face in. And this means that he has to put something in the strip between his deployment zone and the center, otherwise I'll get 5 points out of this particular Detarazzi. Next image, okay, so me finishing my final turn, moving as much stuff into the middle as I can. I've got Detarazzi, I've got Unidron, I've got the Umbra Legate, which is an impersonate mode from Cybermask, in the middle of the table as well. Next image. Okay, so McMurray moves out. The Q drone's there, throws the smoke, and actually manages to survive. So a win for McMurray in that point. Next image. Intruder sniper just starts spinning all the orders, just killing everything. He kills the Datcher outside the Q drone, the lot. The only thing he doesn't really kill is the Umbra Legate hacker. And next image. Okay, so he's got McMurray left alive. This is the end of the game, but importantly, he brings on another AD trooper on the side of the field. And when he looked at the zones, he didn't pre-measure or anything. He just tried to guess which zone to move into. And because when we checked, it turned out my Umbra Legate was in my closest strip, not in the middle of the table. I would have denied him the 5 points, but because he was half an inch away from being in the center of the zone, and my opponent went for the center of the zone, I would have actually won this if I had the Umbra Legate like 1 inch further up. Having said that, though, if I hadn't sort of controlled the center of the table, if I had controlled the center of the table and he'd realized that, he could have just put his trooper in my closest strip and got 5 points to my 3. So realistically, like, he should have won this after the dice rolls. He shouldn't have been robbed by any sort of misposition at the end of the game, but just pointing out what actually happened. Anyway, hope you guys like my combined army. Really enjoying playing them. I might expand them a bit further, and I had such a good time painting them, even though I wasn't 100% happy with my paint scheme. More bat reps to come with these guys. They're really cool.